Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel and to this, which is going to be one of probably two, maybe three videos I do. And I mean, I have the thing right above me. I do want to make clear that this is not a promotional thing for the book. This is about dyspraxia. And sorry, I have forgotten my glasses today when I was recording this, but on the 7th of October, Dyspraxia Awareness Week is beginning, and what I am hoping is that, and it's showing that it is, that this is going to be something that can be... I've completely lost the train of thought already. Basically, Dyspraxia Awareness Week is starting on the 7th. There are other dyspraxia related events going on throughout October. Some people are doing it like the first week. There is, I know of at least one event that's happening towards the end of October. And yeah, it says what it is on the tin. It is about raising awareness and focusing on that. So this is, I guess, a bit of not only a shout out to the hard work that the people behind the Dyspraxia magazine, other charities like Dyspraxic Me, the now formed Dyspraxia Collective, and yes, the Dyspraxia Foundation, despite the fact that it's no longer... Well, despite the fact that it closed its doors earlier in the year, they've spent years working so hard to support our community, so cannot understate how significant they have been either. And yeah, personally, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's going out already planning to support and doing these things, both the organisers and attendees, and even the people who post about it on social media. I'm a part of multiple social media groups focused around dyspraxia and neurodiversity, and the people in those groups are awesome. They're brilliant, and they work hard and always help when there's questions into the community. I've posted numerous questions in there before about certain legal traits and things, and the responses have always been really positive. So, but and you're gonna have to forgive me because I am looking at it, but I haven't got my glasses on, and I'm short-sighted, so this is going to be difficult for me to see on the overlay. So I am going to have to just check off that. So I don't know if that may mess up the window capture, but this is a full list of the events that on this week the Dyspraxia magazine are planning, and they are working alongside others to do this. And as it says on there, if you can see it, it will be streamed live across all of their social media channels. I know that the Dyspraxia magazine, and I just hit the wrong thing. I know that the Dyspraxia magazine itself is putting together posters that have been filled with quotes that have been submitted by people within the community. I know that because I've got a couple that are going on there, and hopefully that's had a very good turnout and help. But beyond all of that, and I will go through the events, I don't know if those events are subject to change, but given the timeline, it seems like they're going to try and film through as many as they can, as it is in under 2 weeks. So, but the reason, well, first and foremost, awareness is always important, no matter what the cause is, if it's neurodiversity, combating racism, or all of these other things. It is all so important. But with dyspraxia, in particular when it comes to the forms of neurodiversity, there is a bit of a different challenge that we have to deal with, that, and I don't know too much about how people with dyscalculia or dysgraphia find it, but dyslexia, autism, ADHD, they still meet the challenges. They still have to deal with false information like the rest of us and all of that, and it's incredible. It is hard work, but the thing that they do have is not only like sizable, well-funded charities. The dyspraxia ones do the best they can, but they don't have the same knowledge or awareness of their existence from society. And to be honest, that goes through dyspraxia to a T. Like, you, with all forms of neurodiversity, you have to deal with the misinformation, you have to deal with the misunderstandings in that, and you have to do your best and try to find that balance between dealing with the drawbacks whilst also embracing the strengths. And but there is a different challenge, and that challenge is basically getting people to recognize that we exist. And I don't mean that as in we're like a small group who don't this is one of the key parts about it, is that we're not a small group. We're not a small community. There are a lot of people out there all around the world who get affected by dyspraxia, and it's like some of the people who have been working on this advocacy for a lot longer than I have come out and said, it's that even in some cases, as the research has shown, dyspraxia can be more common than other things, or just as common. Like, it can be just as common as autism, it can be just as common as ADHD. And yet the knowledge of our existence is like, it's, if this was the rest of them, this would be like dyspraxia in some cases. And I think the scary part in all of this is that I am someone in the UK saying this, when the UK earlier this year held one of the largest dyspraxia supporting communities that I'm aware of, both in and outside of the UK, because I think it had ties to some other places around. But it is a challenge, because being a young person in the UK right now, I don't need to explain what's going on with like the working world and all the chaos we've been through and everything, and I'm not going to get political, but it is one of those things where we do exist, we are here, and just like autism, just like ADHD, and all of these others, we have our struggles and we have our strengths. And the key fundamental that I can say to anyone who knows someone with dyspraxia or thinks they might be dyspraxic themselves and is finding it difficult to sort of understand it, is talk to someone who has it. And that is my advice for any form of neurodiversity, is if you want to understand it, talk to the people with it. Don't just look things up and assume that that's correct, because there is still so much false information out there. And I mean, I saw articles a couple of months ago, and I know that Dyspraxia magazine called one of these out, spreading information about like miracle cures for autism or ADHD. And like, it's not just a case that these things are wrong, and it causes issues with trying to raise awareness when we're having to deal with that kind of false information. But the other part of all of it is that, yeah, it can actually be dangerous. And it can be dangerous in the sense of we're trying to advocate for the fact that we are not people who live with some sort of illness or disease or whatever you want to call it. We were born with this. We live our entire lives with it. And there is no cure because it's not a disease. It has its drawbacks, but it also makes us talented and strong in our own ways. And yeah, that is the thing. And you have many people out there who still believe in the sort of linear path. Let me just clear all of that up right now. That linear path, that sort of conventional societal approach, that never works for someone who's neurodivergent. And even if we are able to fit into that way, which I credit a lot of people with being able to do, it is never an easy fit, and it's never a comfortable fit. And when I first started doing what I'm doing with my books and now with the streams and all of that, I will be honest, I put a little bit on the back of the first book, and yes, despite the front cover editing, it is still there on the back here. That's not a blurb for Athalas, that's actually nothing to do with Athalas, that's talking about why the book was written, and for a long time was the only mention I made of dyspraxia with any of my work. And yeah, the closing of the foundation was a bit of a wake-up call, and that is why this now exists. Or should I point up there so it looks like I'm actually pointing at the title? It was, I know it's not any sort of comparison to some of the other works and books that are out there on the subject, but it tells a bit of my own story, and hopefully it helps. And what I am hoping is that the next video on this will be able to go into a bit more detail. On an ideal front, it would have been nice to actually get some other people with dyspraxia on camera, or not necessarily on camera, but on call, and just talking about and just talking about not really what's the priority, but it's like what can help, what are ways, and yeah, simply, and I know I'm not the first person to do a video like this. Credit Crystal Shaw with her old YouTube channel, and she still works incredibly hard for the community. Many people do. And there are others who have done YouTube videos on it, and I recommend, if you want to find out more, you do check them out as well. If I can remember what they are, I will try and link them in the description. But yeah, it is one of those things of, this is not what my work is about, and I am not in any way affiliated or tied to any of these groups or charities, so I'm not going to sit here and ask for sort of money and all of that towards the charities. If people donate to charity, that is their own decision. It's always appreciated. But even just spreading the information, especially now, and especially about the lesser known charities, is so emphatically important, because there is no way of escaping it. We lost one of, if not our biggest charity earlier in the year, and there have been polls and surveys that have gone out, and there are a lot of people in the community who believe that the awareness since then has actually decreased. And there is a lot of problems in the workplace with neurodivergence feeling misrepresented already. And again, it's circling back to the earlier point. When it comes to dyspraxia, we have to deal with the factor that there are still so many people who don't even realize that dyspraxia exists. You look dyspraxia up half the time on Google, and half the things you'll see are for dyslexia. And I'm not joking. And I mean, I've seen Reddit things as well. Someone posting about dyspraxia and like experiencing and all of that. And one of the first comments I saw was, "Don't you mean dyslexia?" And coming from someone who's got a very close friend who is dyslexic, I can reassure you very much so, they are very different. But there are some other factors that I would like to also clarify with this video particularly. One of those is, and it goes for an argument for ADHD as well, and all of these other factors, all of these other disorders as well, is that they are not autism. They stand on the same sort of line as autism. They stand under the same umbrella of neurodiversity as autism, but they are not autism. Autism is its own thing, and not only does this misinformation, and like I will be honest here, there is like a triangular Venn diagram of ADHD, autism, and dyspraxia where there is a lot of things that do cross over, but they are three different things, and you can be dyspraxic, you can be ADHD, and you can be autism independently of one another. And it is something that is an issue, and look, yeah, I'll be honest, like some of the traits make it hard to define. Like dyspraxia has a fair amount of crossover with ADHD at points, and it does make things tough. And then when you throw in something like hypermobility into that as well, which is both fairly common for dyspraxics and ADHD, it muddies the water even more, which is also why half the time they get diagnosed as the other when they're not. So it's, yeah, it is challenging. And with everything going on with neurodiversity and also young people just trying to get into work at the moment, like it's hard because you see a lot of things about the younger generation, my generation, being like firmer advocates and not being afraid to speak up and all of that. And that's all well and good when you're in the workplace and being able to do that, but you can't do it if you can't even get into the workplace. And that's where the problem lies for a lot of people. And I mean, yeah, and to any dyspraxic out there, I'm not going to say that we need all the voices we can get. We do, but I know that it's not easy to put your face on a camera or to share your story out there. I know that. And so I'm not going to turn around and sit here and ask you to do that, but I am going to say that your story does deserve to be heard, and every story about dyspraxia that we have out, not only does it raise the awareness for it, not only does it help, and I do want to expressly also say that for places beyond just the UK, because I don't know how much it differs, but outside of the UK you don't tend to hear a lot about it. And so it's one of those things that every voice helps, but arguably more importantly, every voice out there for stuff like dyspraxia, like ADHD, like autism, it helps beat back the false information. It helps beat back these misconceptions. Like these things can be, these things are something that need to be cured. We are not cured. No, we are not. Let me use the right terms here. We are not a community that has something that needs to be cured. It can be supported, it can be helped when it comes to the drawbacks of it, like whilst it's not limited to physicality, physicality is one of the more sort of mainstream drawbacks. So that is one of them, but don't think for 1 second that we're something that needs to be cured. We're still human, we're still here, we're not terminally ill. Well, if you do have an illness or something like that, the neurodiversity is not the cause of it. And the trying to think of correct words here. Yeah, the way that my philosophy on it works is that any form of neurodiversity, your differences are dialed to 11, basically, and that works for both your strengths and your weaknesses, which often means that people with neurodiversity can appear to be more intelligent in certain things, one of the most common being the creative industry. But just because I say the most common doesn't mean that applies to everyone. And then on the back burner, you have the weaknesses, and yeah, some of those weaknesses make you feel pretty damn crap. One of my biggest, or I say biggest in terms of most repetitive ones, is that a good proportion of the time I can't open drinks bottles. Don't know why. Sometimes I'm fine and I can open them in one. Sometimes I can be stuck there for like 20 to 30 minutes. And normally it would be something where I would struggle for a bit and then a few minutes I would be like that. But if it goes on, then I get frustrated and that causes stress, which makes it tougher. So I can end up being stuck there for 20 to 30 minutes trying to open a drinks bottle. And yeah, it's things like that that are not fun. And it's not only not fun because of what it is, but it's also not fun because there are a lot of people who still don't understand that. They don't understand that when we're standing there struggling to open something. I mean, it was a few months ago that I tried to open a tin of tomatoes at home. I almost sliced half my thumb off. And I am now kind of sort of temporarily banned from trying to open tins. it it's simple things like that, and it is the biggest part of all of it is the frustration. It's the frustration of having something that can affect your ability to explain things, and then you're trying to explain it. And I mean, like, I'm sitting here and I've had to pause I don't know how many times because the words have just gone. And yeah, not everyone is going to be able to sit in front of a camera and do this. And for anyone who can, already has, or does about anything like this, not only dyspraxia, but anything, tip my hat off to you, because it's not easy. And this is sounding really negative, and I'm hoping that it doesn't come across that way, because we are, like, we yeah, we took a hit as a community earlier in the year with the foundation shutting down, but we're still going. We're still going here. Research is still continuing and all of that. We've just got to. It may just require some more voices to come out about awareness and awareness or advocacy for the awareness. Like, and I sit here still with the factor that I believe in this. I put my support behind advocating for this, advocating for any form of neurodiversity. A lot of the guys who I'm friends with, both from school and from like events and all of that, they have a form of neurodiversity. And yeah, so sorry, the sun started glaring. Just I know my channel isn't that big, so I know the amount of reach that I personally can get at the moment is limited. But at the exact same time, I'm also have no plans to close or remove these videos at some point, so it's like even future people can come back and watch this. And it's like the argument for awareness, it's important like throughout most things, so and yeah, we do need more voices, and yeah, young people just need more voices out there anyway. And it's we've just got to work together as a team, as a community to help. I don't want to say educate people because that sounds demeaning, but just to quote what the Dyspraxia Collective said on their stream, we have to help them to help us. We have to speak and share and do all of these things to help out. And yeah, it's never easy. And it's not going to randomly start being easy, but you like it doesn't have to be a monetary donation to all of these things, just attending the events, spreading information about them, correct information, not false. And you can help a lot of people by doing just that. And again, it falls down to things like influence and platforming, and dyspraxia does not have the same recognition that something like autism, something like ADHD, something like dyslexia have. And that is half the battle, is being able to get to that point of having that level of awareness. And that's not trying to diminish any of these other groups. Like, the awareness battle for neurodiversity is one that we all share, and we just have to keep plodding on it. So yeah, Dyspraxia Awareness Week, because I've been talking for nearly 30 minutes here, and I do actually need to go out and do stuff. So, Dyspraxia Awareness Week. See the events. Check out the Dyspraxia magazine. I will be putting the links for I will be putting the links in the description for the charities and the organisations that I am aware of for people to check out if they are not aware of them. Yeah. And the last part that I want to know, and I want to reiterate that bit, if you can see it, which I don't think you can, so I'm going to have to move me. No, that's the wrong thing. Just going to have to shimmy me over. No, that doesn't work. Tell you what, I will remove camera for a moment. That's probably the best way of doing it. So, I've put a video out about this before. Embracing Dyspraxia, it is free or customer pays what they want. It's something that I am going to be pushing over the next couple of weeks, probably throughout the next month quite heavily, because the nature of what this month's going to be in terms of dyspraxia awareness, and also just awareness for neurodiversity in particular. And I'm not going to say it's the most entertaining of things. I'm not going to say that it's the longest of reads. It's not. It's not even 30 pages, but it tells a bit of my story, and hopefully it will be able to help some people out in one way or another, whether it's through inspiring or something else. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that front. Again, that's all I have to say on that front. I just wanted to do a quick showcase of it again. It is digital only, so yeah. But I have been rambling for 31 minutes here, and this is going to be one of at least 2 videos. So, and I'm aiming to have this out the Saturday after I record it. Not sure if that will happen. It may be some point over the weekend, or it might not be until the following Monday. But oh, actually, will it be the following Monday? It might be the following Tuesday, because I think I might be busy on Monday. So yeah, just any links, anything you can do. And as a final note, I will read out these for those who may not be able to see it, because I don't know how well it's coming out on the camera. These are the events that the Dyspraxia magazine are hosting live on their social medias, and they are all at UK time. Monday the 7th, Mental Health Workshop hosted by Sarah Fern at Lancashire Mind. I think that's a part of the Minds charity, I'm not 100% sure. 5 PM UK time. Tuesday the 8th, Energy Management Webinar hosted by Alexandra Lawrence, 4:30 PM UK time. Wednesday 9th of October, Sensory Integration Workshop hosted by Dr. Lilani Brewer, 12 PM UK time. Thursday 10th, and this is one that I know a lot of the guys who watch my stuff are from different gaming communities or world building and all that, so this is one that may stand out for some people in this. Thursday the 10th of October, Dyspraxia from a Global Perspective panel, 6 PM UK time. Friday 11th of October, Dyspraxia Research panel, 6 PM UK time. And finally, Saturday 12th, Dyspraxic Writers panel, 6 PM UK time. And that is all I have to report on that factor. So I hope you all, well, I hope this reaches a lot of people. I am going to be posting it as much as I can. Again, I know that the amount that I can help is small fry at the moment with the channel size and that, but if it helps, it helps. And until the next time, welcome to the Kingdom of Athalas and the world of Fellow Mind books. And I will just note as a final part, there will be a couple of links on like the usual channel description, but seeing as I'm trying to share that as well in these videos, the links might be a bit more diminished. I'm I'm going to do the intro bit on the video as per usual, but I might skip out on having the exit because this has got nothing to do with the books. So that would be a bit disingenuous of me to do that. So, but anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and cheerio.